The second year of the Dino Babers era is less than 24 hours from being underway, and we've got all your answers. Welcome to Cuse Countdown. Chris Venzon, Jonathon Hoppe, I'm Unger. Guys, keys to this season. Offense set all sorts of record last year, but nothing to really show for it, only 4 wins. What do they need to do to improve upon it if you had to pick one thing this season?
It all starts up front. The defensive line play is especially important this season. This team let the opponents average 38 points per game. That's horrendous. Like, it's actually pretty remarkable that they were bad enough to allow that many points per game, but most of the issues were along the defensive line. They couldn't stop the rush, and they couldn't defend the pass. They only had 16 sacks. They allowed 276 rushing yards. You know, Dino Babers said that he expects his defense to be vastly improved. Hoppe, I expect, well, he better be right, honestly, because it's about as atrocious as you can get starting from last year.
Well, Chris, I agree with you. This game is going to be won, the whole season is going to be won at the line of scrimmage. So for me, it's the offensive line, because last year it had a lot of problems, a lot of injuries, and you look, we've got some help coming. Syracuse does in 2018 with Sampson and White. So it's going to be about this year. Can those guys stay healthy? Can they produce? Can Syracuse have a running game? Can they protect Dungy? For me, it's the offensive line, Adam.
You guys think it's all about the trenches. I think it might be all about the coaching this year. Let's hear what Coach Babers has to say about the upcoming matchup.
You know, it's not about the coaches when you come out the tunnel the first time. It's all about the players. You look at their eyes, and it's like your son or your daughter when you know they got a bike underneath the Christmas tree and they hadn't seen it yet, and they're coming out to look at their presents, man. Their eyes are all sparkling. For me, I'm sitting there going, oh, God, we're playing these teams. God, hope we do well. Everybody's going to ask me all these 1,000 questions. Hope we can find a way to get a win. Hope no one gets hurt. But for the players, it's time to hit somebody else in a different color jersey, and it's fun to see that sparkle in their eyes.
Well, if it's all about the players this weekend, who's it going to be about all season? What are your keys to the offense for this year? Chris?
Here's a fun fact for you. So in Dino Babers' first 2 stops, he improved the team's offensive performance by 12 points per game. Big jump in year 2 at Bowling Green and at Eastern Illinois. But the big reason for that, each year he had 5 starting returning offensive linemen. I think it's really important to take a look at Sam Heckel this year's season, especially with the loss of the team's best guard in Aaron Roberts. It's really important that, you know, this team has the veteran quarterback. They have the flashy receivers. It's extremely important, though, that they have time to actually run the plays that they want to and be explosive on offense. So if you're going to expect, you know, the offensive line to be able to protect and hold up and have a good offensive performance against teams like NC State, LSU, and Clemson, that's really, I think, the biggest key for success.
Well, you mentioned Coach Babers and that offense. It all starts with those wide receivers. Babers is so good with them, and that's why, for me, it's all about Irv Phillips, because Amba Edetawa accounted for nearly 40% of the passing yards for Syracuse last season. Who's going to fill that void? I think it's going to be Irv Phillips. He lined up in the slot last season. He nearly doubled his receiving yards from his previous 2 seasons. Last season alone, I think that continues with Irv Phillips. It's going to be huge for him and Ishmael to really make some noise at receiver.
Absolutely.
Jonathon, we're coming right back to you. Who is your defensive key for this year?
Oh, man, that's going to be ANTWAN, CORDY. You talk about defense. Secondary had a lot of problems last year, so someone's going to need to step up. I think it's going to be CORDY. They've got some transfers back in the secondary, but really when you think about the defense, it's all about the secondary, and that's why ANTWAN CORDY, back from injury, you know, he's going to be focused. He's a guy that is familiar with Syracuse. He's going to come back and think about it. He watched Syracuse really struggle in defense all last season. He's going to be motivated to come back and really correct things.
And while ANTWAN CORDY is remarkably important, the real straw that stirs the drink for Syracuse's defense is Zaire Franklin. He's the alpha, the top dog, even with guys like Paris Bennett on the roster starting next to him at linebacker. Led the team in tackles his first season, then the next season finished second in tackles. He's a captain since sophomore year. He's really the guy that makes this whole thing go. If they lose him, it's a big loss for Syracuse.
Chris, you're absolutely right. He does stir the drink, as you say. Well, here's what the 3-time captain has to say about the Blue Devils.
Been waiting. It's a long time coming. Senior year, just ready to go with a bang, ready to finally get in the dome with my boys and just let it all rip. We have a really big, strong quarterback. Quarterback's about 6'6", with a really big arm, really shifty running back. I think he's from West Virginia, transfer. So he has some talent there. They also have a really talented tight end as well too. He's a pretty big playmaker for them too. So they definitely pose challenges. We just definitely got to be clean and on Friday, and hopefully everything will go our way.
Well, there's your scouting report on the Blue Devils. Guys, you're analysts and you're also locksmiths. Chris, what is your key to the game on Friday?
Well, in college football, they don't really have preseason games, but this is about as close as it gets. They have, it's essentially a tune-up for Syracuse playing against Central Connecticut. My key for the game is to stay clean. Basically, what that means is no turnovers and, convert on third downs. If you can't convert third downs, have no turnovers, low penalties against teams from the Northeast Conference. How are you going to expect to do that against teams from the Southeast Conference, guys? It's just not something that, in a preseason game, you expect them to play flawlessly.
Well, Chris, rarely can you say this, but no one is picking Central Connecticut State, and there's a reason for that. So Syracuse, they're going to win this game, okay? I'll spoil my prediction, but what they're going to need to do is stay focused because this is a tough schedule. They've got 3 important home games to start the season, and you take a trip to LSU. So it's more about just winning this game. They need to look good, they need to get sharp, and they need to do it in a hurry.
You already gave it away, Jonathan, but what's the score?
I've got Syracuse winning 56-7. I think that they're going to score a lot of points because Eric Dungy's coming back. I just think there's a lot of motivation for this game. I think when you look at it, they're 15-0 against FCS teams. It's going to be a rout, and I think Central Connecticut State, give the Blue Devils 7 points, but they're not going to put too many numbers on the board.
For me, it's 38-17. It's going to be a blowout. It's definitely not going to be close, but it's not going to be as bad as you think, Hoppe. The big thing is that I think in the second half the starters rest, and even though it is Central Connecticut State, haven't won more than 2 games last year.
Well, they won 2 games all last season.
They've struggled, but what they can do is they can pass the ball at 276 yards throughout the air, and the Orange ranked 122nd out of 128 in total defense. You take that, and then you put before they pull the starters from the game. I think that you can find a couple garbage time touchdowns in there.
I don't know if I would call 38-17 a blowout, but either way, our guys have all orange for tomorrow night. We're going to have everything covered for you: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at CitrusTV Sports. One more time, that's Chris, that's Jonathan, I'm Adam. Enjoy the game. We'll see you next time.